Hey everybody, Mr. Chantry here, your neighborhood planetarium director, with the mid-September 2019 edition of Evening Sky Excursions, where I show you what you can find in the skies over our community this month, and what events you can attend to get your space fix. So this month we have September 20th at the planetarium. We have our first public shows of the school year. 6:30 will be a show about Apollo 11 moon landing that had its 50th anniversary this summer. And the 8 o'clock show will be all about NASA's plans to go back to the moon. September 27th, we'll have a public star party at the Lower Providence Township building. If there's no clouds out, we'll bring out a bunch of telescopes and set them up for anybody to look through them who wants to. So let's jump into our night sky and see what we might be seeing there. So September marks out the beginning of fall. This September 23rd will be the autumnal equinox, the first day of fall. So you'll notice from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, the sun's coming up about 25 minutes later. And in the end of the day, the sun's setting about 45 minutes earlier from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. So we're losing about an hour of daylight this month, which is great for looking at the sky. So we're going to face west here and watch the sun go down. Here we are at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. By 8 o'clock, it's pretty dark. I know my westerly direction because that's about where the sun sets right now. So to look at what I want to see in the sky, I'm going to make a 90-degree turn to my left to look south. And we're looking south. This is where a lot of what we're going to find in the sky this month is. And the south is dominated by two planets, Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter is by far the brightest object in the sky right now. And you'll be able to see it anytime from about 7:30 to maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock. It'll be getting pretty low in the sky, depending if you have lots of trees in your yard. To the left of it, Saturn isn't quite as bright as Jupiter, but it's definitely brighter than all of the other stars around it, so you can easily find Jupiter and Saturn there. If you like looking at stars and constellations, well, what's dominating our skies right now is the summer triangle. To find the summer triangle, look almost directly overhead for one of the brightest stars in the sky, which is Vega. This marks out one corner of the summer triangle. If you look down into the left of Vega, you'll find Altair, marks out another corner, and back up into the left, you can find Deneb. So this marks out our summer triangle in the sky. Now, this summer triangle is in a constellation. It's what we call an asterism, a shape in the sky, but it marks out three constellations. So Vega is in the constellation Lyra the Harp. It's the brightest star in that constellation by far. The rest of the constellation is to the bottom left of it, and it's just four stars that make out a parallelogram here. Two stars at the bottom are pretty bright. The two just to the left of Vega are very, very dim. You'll need some good sight and some good skies to see those, but look for that parallelogram. Down below to the left, we have Altair in Aquila the Eagle. This is a diamond shape down here. It's kind of like two triangles for the eagle's wings, and the bright star Altair is one of the eagle's eyes. Then back up to the left for Deneb, and we have Cygnus the Swan, sometimes also known as the Northern Cross, because it's this cross shape here in the sky. This is the swan's wings that come out this way, the swan's tail, and the swan's long neck up here. Once you've found that summer triangle and those three constellations, you've also found the Milky Way. Now, typically we can't see the Milky Way in our skies in our community because there's way too much light pollution. You really need to go somewhere dark to be able to see the Milky Way across the sky. But once you've found the summer triangle, the Milky Way goes right through the center of the summer triangle. It comes from the south here and moves up and almost directly over our heads right now this time of year. So if you have a pair of binoculars, they don't even have to be good binoculars, just a pair of even little kid binoculars, take them out and scan through the sky in the middle of this triangle, and you'll be amazed at how many stars that you can see. While you have those binoculars out, why not point them at Jupiter? If you take a look at Jupiter and you through a pair of binoculars, you may be able to start making out some of the Galilean moons. These are little moons that go around Jupiter. If you look through a pair of binoculars, you may be able to make out a few of them there. And then one other object you can look at with binoculars if you'd like a challenge. Well, if we're facing the south and we see Jupiter and Saturn here, if we make another 90-degree turn to our left, we can look for this W shape in the northeast of Cassiopeia. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your binoculars and you're going to look at this star at the center point of the W in Cassiopeia and go to this star down to the left and keep that line going and scan around in this part of the sky. If you scan around in that part of the sky with your binoculars, you should be able to find the Great Double Cluster right here. Now, it's called the Perseus Double Cluster because technically it's part of the constellation Perseus below Cassiopeia here, but I always use Cassiopeia to find it. This is 2 star clusters with a couple hundred stars each in them. They look like one big star cluster, but they're actually separated by a few hundred light years. They just happen to be appearing next to each other in our skies. Really beautiful to look at with a pair of binoculars. Now, if you don't have a pair of binoculars and you found all of those constellations in the sky, one other thing that you can see in the sky this month without any binoculars at all, if you look on September 20th, which will be just about the time of our second planetarium show. So we'll be probably going outside to look at this on our planetarium show. If you look just before 8 o'clock at about 7:58, so let me take us to the 20th here, you'll see a bright light appear in the sky. That's the International Space Station. And you can see the International Space Station in our sky quite often. This will be a particularly bright and long encounter in our sky. It'll rise just around 7:58 in our sky and take about 6 minutes to cross all the way across the sky. Right around 7:59, 8 o'clock, it'll be really close to Jupiter here in the sky. It'll stand out and it'll appear to be moving slowly over there. If you ever want to see when you can see the International Space Station, go to the planetarium website, www.methacton.org/planetarium, and I actually have a spot the planetarium app right here. In it, it shows you the next time it's going to show up, and you can click here for more sightings. This also lists all of our public shows and everything that you can find that month. So you can come out to our public shows on September 20th. Take a look south for Jupiter and Saturn all the rest of this month. Look right over our head for our summer triangle up here in the sky. If you really want to get brave, get some binoculars out. Take a look through this triangle. Take a look at Jupiter and look to the northeast at that W and see if you can see that double cluster. We'll see you with next month's edition of Evening Sky Excursions.